All right, let's do this. Let's go live. All right, hopefully everybody can hear me okay. So, all right, if you guys need to contact me, hone at iescapemy9to5.com. Today, I'm going to be going over how to get started in real estate. And a lot of people have issues with getting started because they often say they don't have any money, they don't have any credit, they don't have XYZ, right? They're really focused on what they don't have, and that's a problem. So I'm just going to break it down real simply on how to get started. What's up, Joel? What's up, Tisha? Can you guys hear me okay? I'm testing out a new mic, so I just want to make sure y'all can hear me. Adrian, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Just want to make sure. Yeah? All right, cool. We got thumbs up. All right, good. Sup, son? All right, let me make it a little brighter. All right, so let's get started, right? So the people who say that they don't, or they're not able to get started in real estate, it's often because they don't have any money. And so let's get over this. All right, so with real estate investing, you got your houses, right? And it's like, all right, I want a property. I want a way to make money using real estate, and I don't know how, right? All right, so cool. So now, it's not that, maybe you don't have money in your pocket, but it doesn't mean that there isn't money, right? There's a lot of money in the world. You just need to know how to access it. So when we come to doing deals, I'm going to break it down like this, right? So with real estate, there are different resources. One is money. Two is credit. Three is time. Four is resources. And then I guess like your network, right? All right, so there's multiple things that you need to come to the deal with, or come to the table with. But the question is, do you come empty-handed? People always just focus on this, credit and money. Credit and money right here. But what about time? Do you bring time to the table? Could you bring time to the table is probably a better question, right? Let me try to lighten this up. Oh, I can't lighten this up at all. All right, whatever. All right, so resources. Do you have materials? Do you actually have the property itself? What else do you bring in terms of resources? And then your network. Who do you know, and how can you help make this all happen, right? So there's a multitude of things. So if you're brand new and you just keep focusing on that, it's like, look, all right, cool, we got you. We heard you the first time when you didn't have money and credit. But do you bring any of these things? Now, if the answer is no, I'm sorry. And of course, the main one, right? It's like knowledge, right? That's the main one. How could I forget that one, right? So if you don't know how to maybe necessarily put together, what's up, Christy? If you don't know how to put together the deal, if you don't know how deals work, and you don't bring any of these other things, and you come to the table empty-handed, you're like, okay, I want to be a real estate investor, but I bring nothing. I don't have any one of these 6 things. Then why would anybody want to invest with you? Right? Think about that. People want everything. They just want everything. Hey, I want to be a real estate investor, but I got nothing. So if you don't have the credit or the money, then focus on something else that you can bring to the table. If you brought a deal to the table, if you actually went out and you found a deal, then great. There's a possibility that we could do something here. The thing that I like most, and I think is the easiest to obtain out of all of these things, is the knowledge, right? Because a lot of times you guys are too busy working, right? You're too busy working already. Having a network of people takes time to develop, like to have somebody in your back pocket that you can call and like, hey, I need this favor. Can you do this for me? You might not have that. And the resources, you don't have a lot of resources either. So knowledge is probably the easiest one to focus on. If you bring the knowledge, like you really know it, you can partner with the rest of it. You see that? You can partner with the rest of it. I'm busy. Maybe I don't have the time, and I don't have the deal, right? Let's say I don't have the deal, I don't have the time, but I bring the money, the credit, the knowledge, and the network. Well, maybe we can figure out something here, right? maybe you can do a lot of the running around and whatever, and you bring the deal, and then I can bring the rest. So there's different ways of doing deals together. So don't just focus on this. This is like a small part. It's a really small part, because sometimes, or a lot of times, I can get you money even if you have bad credit. Believe it or not, right? Even if you have bad credit, I can get you the money. So it seems like right now that neither of these are the problem. It could be this, but then really the problem is you don't know how to put it all together. All right, so let's talk about specific. Let's talk about how to actually do something together. So here's just the mindset that I need to get you guys into, right? So those are the 6. So now I can erase it. So now let's talk about, let's say, how many different ways you guys want to do this? How many different strategies do you guys want me to go over? 1, 2, 3, 5. Give me a number. Give me a number. How many strategies do you want me to guys? How many strategies do you guys want me to go over right now? There's a bunch of you guys on this call. Cool. Or live, whatever. Right? Give me a number. Type something. How many different no money, no credit strategies or partnership type strategies do you want me guys to go over? 2. All right, Rasheem, you got it. All right, so we're going to go over 2. So 1 and 2. All right, so now, you guys are too late to the trigger. Andres, you said 3, and Christy said 5. Bill Bates says 3, so maybe we'll do 3. We got 2 people to vote 3, and it's just 1 over Rasheem. All right, cool. So we're going to go over, let's go over lease option. Let's go over lease option first. There's a no money, no credit strategy, right? So let's say this person, they have a house. Here's the house, right? Let me put it in front of them. Here's the house. So that person has a house. Maybe it's vacant. Maybe they had a tenant. Maybe they didn't. Whatever. It just went vacant. Whatever, right? So now what happens is you come along and then you're going to rent it from them. Right? So here you go. You're going to rent it from that person, right? It's two-way arrow. You're going to rent that from him for, say, I don't know, $600 a month. Just because he's in a jam. You're like, look, $600 a month. I'm going to rent this house from you, right? And also, at the same time, you say, look, in 3 years, I'm going to buy it from you for $70K. How's that sound? And he's like, all right, cool, great. But because he doesn't really know how a lease option works, he's okay with these terms. $600 a month, 3 years, $70K. Boom, that's the lease option. And that's an option, meaning you get to or you cannot buy it, right? So that's a choice that you get to make. So then you turn around and you find this person over here who wants to rent the property out. So between y'all, maybe you rent out for $750, right? So this is pretty simple. You make the $150 difference. And then you also go into a lease option with this person. In 3 years, he gets to buy the house for, say, $80K. 80K. All right? So now, so far so good, right? So you make $150 a month spread here, and then in 3 years, you get to buy the house from that person, but then this person gets to buy the house from you. So really, you'll just wholesale it to that person, and then you get to make the difference. Now, here's the cool parts, and I'm going to go into the details of it all. All right? So you got a $10,000 spread here in 3 years, right? You got a $150 spread here every single month. So far, you've brought no money to the table, but here's the cool trick, right? Between y'all, right here, you have this lease option premium, right? Lease option premium. Premium. There you go. All right, so we got lease option premium. What you say is, well, you get the option to buy it for $80,000 in 3 years. Maybe the house is going to go way up. Maybe the house is not, but you need to pay me for that option. And I want $10K up front. as a premium, as a fee. Whether he buys the house or not, you get paid the $10K up front. Now, if he does buy the house, the $10K gets applied to the $80. So he's only buying it for $70. Originally, don't you sell the option for a small fee, like a couple grand, that is non-refundable? Yeah, Sean. So here's the $10,000 that you're talking about right there, right? So $10,000 option fee, you charge this person. But because this person didn't bother coming to my real estate school, they didn't know that within a lease option that you should collect an option premium. Is it mandatory? No. But if you don't know better, then you don't know better. You see how what you don't know could be costing you, right? So you collected the 10 grand up front, and you're collecting 150 over time, and in 3 years, if he buys it, great, you apply it. If he doesn't buy it, that's fine. You don't close on it either, so you're good, right? So that's just a little example of how you do a lease option. Now, I'm going to go into one more detail that a lot of people don't go over, right? So you said to this person, hey, anything big, I want you to take care of. Big as in repairs, right? So if it's over $500, in repair costs, I want you to take care of it. Because keep in mind, you still own the house, right? You are saying it to him. Anything over $500, I want you to take care of it. And then anything 500 and below, I will take care of, right? And then this person goes, you know what? Sure, no problem. If it's under 500 and you're going to take care of everything, great. Anything big, that's on me because it's still my house. You turn around and you say just the opposite to this guy. Hey, anything under 500, I want you to take care of. And anything over 500, I will take care of, right? So now this person has agreed to maintain the house for over 500. This person has agreed to take over the house for repairs under 500, under and over, and so you have nothing there. So that's just a pretty neat trick, that little spread. These numbers I just made up off the fly. I may not do it. I might do it where this one's like, say, 50K, and that's 80K, so then we got a 30K spread in the future, and then you collect the 10K up front, and then maybe a bigger spread here. But I was just spitballing. But I just want you guys to get stuck on the principle, which is, here's how you do a lease option. Everybody cool? Did this seem interesting to some people? People are like, dang, I can do that? I didn't know that. Well, yeah, you can do that. Love it. 10K for an option, common. You know, Sean, in life, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. So, hey, is it common? I don't know. 7,000, 5,000, 15,000. It's all over the place. So 10,000, hey, it's whatever you can negotiate. If they don't have 10K, then you can't get the 10K from them, right? All right, so that was lease option. Let's keep on trucking. What's neat is this week in my real estate school is creative acquisitions, right? So we're going to be going over a lot of these different things in detail. And even though you think this is detail, the thing is you don't know what you don't know. You don't know how much detail I'm leaving out, right? So you come to the class, then you get to see the full scope of it all, right? So voila. So people like to listen to this stuff and they're like, wow, now I know everything. I'm like, you only know what I told you. You don't know everything. And I may or may not have told you everything you need to know. Yo, careful, your 2 degrees are showing. All right, let's go subject 2. Sub 2. All right, subject 2, I'm going to write it out so you guys know what it is. Subject 2. Subject 2 is where we'll go back to this person here. They have a house, right? And then they have a mortgage that they have to pay to the bank, right? Let's say this is the bank. So that's the bank there, right? So they got to pay, let's say, $500 a month to the bank to own this house. But in the situation where this person wants to leave or move or whatever, for whatever reason, this person wants to get rid of this house, and they're willing to sell it for what they owe on it. That would be the number one question you ask is, are you willing to sell me the house for what you owe on it? And they're like, oh, sure. So let's say their principal amount is, say, $70,000, right? And they owe $500 a month towards the mortgage. You say, look, you go do whatever you want to do. We'll close in a week, right? I just got to get title back. We'll close in a week, and I'll just buy it for what you owe on it, $70K. And you know what? Maybe I'll even give you a couple bucks just for the convenience of it all, right? So then you just tell them, look, leave the loan in your name. You go off into the world and you do whatever it is that you want, and I will pay the $500 a month. And guess what? You now own the house. You own the house. The loan, the mortgage is still in their name with their bank, but you own the house. So the deed and the mortgage are two separate things. A lot of times people get that confused. They think it's one and the same. It's not, right? So you get to, what gets to happen is you get to pay their mortgage for $500 a month. You never actually needed to get that loan. So that loan actually doesn't even come up on your credit report at all. What's good for them is, one, they got rid of the headache. Whatever the headache is, they were able to just get rid of that house. And then two, because I'm paying the mortgage every single month for them, their credit is getting better. It's improving. So you can use that as a negotiation chip. Like, look, I'm going to pay your mortgage every single month. Your credit is going to get better. So let's do this. And then they're like, you know what? Okay, I like you. I trust you. I want to do business with you. Right? So that's the other thing. People are so stuck with trying to like learn strategies and come up with money and everything else. At the end of the day, you still need to be likable, because this is a seller who's going to be dealing with you. They don't like you. They're probably not going to sell to you. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Doesn't matter how many strategies you know. You still got to be likable. So we cover like all of these different things. It's so nuancey, this business. But you don't realize that until you start coming to the classes, right? So you get to buy the property for what they owe on it, and $500 a month goes to the bank. What's cool is, here's what's really cool. Every single month that we pay it, that $70,000 goes down. And if they're deep in their loan, let's say that they've been paying it for 15 years or something, every single payment that I make after that has a large principal payment. So like of the 500, when you first start out, $490 goes to interest and $10 goes to principal. But after 15 years or so, maybe $300 goes to goes to interest, and then $200 goes to principal, or even better, we got like $250 and $250, right? As time goes on, the split changes. The principal and interest payments change. So it's good. Every single month, this gets paid down. So in a couple years or whatever it is, whatever I decide to do with this property, and I get rid of it, I sell it, whatever, I will have more equity in it. So you can do the lease option that I was talking about earlier, or you can, you can do a lease option, not the two lease options, but a single lease option, where I own the house, I lease option it to somebody else. Every single month that they pay me rent, I pay my mortgage, the principal goes down, so when I finally do the option, when I execute on the sale, I don't owe 70, I owe less. So whatever they agreed to pay me, let's say they agreed 80, maybe it's 65,000 by the time that we go to settlement. So instead of making 10, I make 15,000 now, right? So that's a subject too. A couple of things people ask is, do I have to worry about what's called the due on sale clause? Due on sale clause just means that the bank goes, I didn't know that you sold the house, and because you sold it and you didn't pay us off, and we don't know who this guy is, and yada, 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 we want the whole loan up front. You owe us $70,000 right now. And the thing is, there is reality, and then there's like actuality. Oh, I'm sorry, technicality. I'm sorry, I'll do that again. There is reality, and then there's technicality. Technically, yes, they could call the note, the $70,000, and say, look, you owe us the $70,000 now. That's technicality. The reality is, I've never heard of anybody where that's ever occurred. They've never called the note, as far as I know. So, just be mindful of that, right? Be mindful that it exists, and then know that, hey, it doesn't really happen. So there you go. So that's how you can take over a property where somebody is the mortgagor. I'm sorry. Yes, somebody is the mortgagor, right? They have a mortgage with the bank, and then you just get to take over it, quote unquote. Really, it's just you're buying it subject to the mortgage, and now you just take over their payments, right? Pretty easy. Now, I say pretty easy. I take it for granted that I've been doing this for a couple years. I know what it is that I'm talking about, right? But it's there's details. There's details in all of it. All right, everybody doing good so far? Thumbs up, thumbs up. All right, let me see. Let me think of one more. Cool, thank you. I had this conversation with someone close about how they live in a liability and not an asset because they were trashing renting. I expressed to them that their house doesn't make them money, but can be used as a lender to make them money. They didn't seem to get it. Sean, most people don't get it. And it's what it is, right? It just means less competition. See, it's funny because people will go, Hone, you do such extensive trainings. Don't you worry about training your competition? No, not even a little bit, right? Right? I'm doing a live thing. I have like thousands of Facebook friends. Right now, I'm looking at the little counter. There's 11 people on this thing. I'm not worried about the 11 people. I'm not. Each deal is like a battle, but then there's a greater war. I may lose the battle, right? Somebody else might buy the property, but I'm never going to lose the war because there's so many deals to be had. And what's actually happening here with the training is I'm not creating my competition, even though we might compete on the battlefield, right, for a single deal. What I'm really doing is creating future partners. I like to think of it that way, right? Future partners is the name of the game because it's hard enough doing it by yourself. That's why I advocate doing deals with like a family, like a network. And I get to have like alliances now because people trust me because I gave so much. I gave. And so when it's that one time and I need to call in a favor and like whatever, then they're like, okay, I got you, Ho. Go Team Hone. All right, thanks, Steve. All right, let's go into the last one. Oh, this marker's dying. Hey guys, if you guys enjoy these videos and you want to buy me more dry erase markers, please do, because I don't have any. All right, so 3. Let's go over. I'm trying to think of a cool one. I'm trying to think of a really cool one. All right, I'm just gonna go over the one deal that we did within our group. Right, it was really cool. It was a subject to seller finance, hard money flip. So far, so good. All right, so we had a sub to seller financed hard money flip. I don't remember the numbers exactly, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because I'm just going to give you the premise. This is what happened in the group though. All right, so there was a house. There was a mortgage on it. The mortgage was like $150,000. Let's just say they owed $150,000. Now, as is, or let's say sold as is, the person wanted $250,000. Okay, so far so good. So the mortgage was $150,000, and the person selling it wanted to sell the house for $250,000. So then there's $100K left, right? So now the mortgage we're doing subject to, right? So far so good. The mortgage we did subject to. Now we had to come up with $100,000. Well, then we said to the seller, like, okay, look, we can't get you $100,000 right now. How about we get you $110,000? They said, what? What do you mean? We'll get you $110,000, but you gotta allow us to pay it to you over time. They were like, So we broke it down to them, right? So we asked if we initially asked if we could finance the whole thing for $100,000. They'll get $10,000 at the end. They said, no, we want some money. All right, cool. And it was like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So let's say, and again, I don't remember the exact numbers, right? So let's say we seller financed $60,000, because you got to ask people, what are you going to do with the money? How much do you need? So they seller finance $60,000, which ultimately means we didn't have to bring $60,000 to the table. We only needed to bring 40, because $60,000 seller finance just meant like maybe we paid them $600 a month, right? $600 a month is very different than $60,000 up front. All we needed to do was come up with $40,000. So we found this was actually more like private money. So we found private money. We found private money to fund the $40,000 because it was a smaller chunk, right? We used self-directed IRA, right? So this gets deeper. It gets deeper. So the private money actually came from a self-directed IRA to finance the other $40,000. The seller financed the 60. We took over the mortgage subject to for $150, and then we did private money from a self-directed IRA retirement account, right? And then we just had to pay them back. And let's say we paid $400 a month back, right? So now we have to pay the mortgage back every single month. Let's say that was $700, right? So $700 a month plus $600 here plus $400 there. So that's $1,700 a month. That's $1,700 a month in carrying cost. And then we borrowed an additional, let's say here we borrowed an additional $40,000 to do the rehab, right? So we borrowed another 40, so that's another 400, right? So then plus 400 here. So $2,100 a month. Okay, let's follow along here. We did this killer deal. It cost us $2,100 a month to finance the rehab, which was $40,000, plus paying so that's $400 a month there, plus paying the private money for the part that we couldn't seller finance, so that's $400, plus the seller finance part, which is $600, plus the mortgage, which was $700. So we got to, for $2,100 a month, we got to do this deal, right? And we bought it. So essentially, the sale price was $250, but then at the end, we sold it for $400, right? So we sold it for $400. We are all in for $250 plus, let's say, I don't know, $10,000 in closing costs. So we're at $260, and then plus $2,100. This deal actually took 3 months. But let's say it didn't, and let's say it took 6 months, right? So 6 times 21, what are we at? 6, 12, 13. What is that, 13.2 or something? I don't know. Damn, my math is terrible. Okay, 0, 0, 6, 12. 12.6. Oh. All right, so 12.6. Right, so now let's add that up. So we're at 260, 260, 272, 600. 272, 600. What's really neat is that the buyer of the place came and they bought the property because they lived nearby. They were walking by, they saw the construction. They said, "Hey, could we buy that property from you?" And we said, "Yeah, sure, you can buy it." All right, and then I'm going to do the math real quick. Times 0.98 equals, so this turned into 392. Okay, so 392 minus, where are we at? 272 minus 272, 600 equals this, in the numbers that I have, $119,000, right? In this scenario, we profited $119,000. Now, if these numbers were a little wrong, let's say the rehab was more, just subtract it from that. So, whatever, right? This deal really happened. This was a subject to seller finance private money using a self-directed IRA flip. Because we knew of all of the strategies, we were able to accomplish this. All it cost us was $2,100 a month. And where can you get that $2,100 a month from? Maybe a line of credit, right? You can go to any one of the credit unions, TrueMark, American Heritage, Police and Fire, Philadelphia Federal. They can give you at least $15,000, $25,000. So, voila, you got your line of credit used to fund the deal's carrying costs, and because you negotiated all of this, you didn't have to bring anything to the table. It's an amazing, amazing thing here that you get to do. If you know the stuff, you can do the stuff, right? But you don't want to go to the meetings empty-handed, or like my friend Alex who said, empty-headed, right? If you go in empty-headed, oh, hey, I want to do a deal, and they're like, okay, well, you need to come up with $100,000. Actually, they would say, all right, I want to sell my house for $250,000. You would be like, well, I don't have $250,000. Well, here I just showed you, you don't need $250,000. You just need a lot up here. See that? A lot up here. Malik, who's a part of the group, he's the one who actually negotiated this one. I sat there watching him do it, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I love it. Because I love watching it in action. I love watching when the students take what they've learned and just apply it in real life. It's so great. It's so great. So, Brittany found the deal. Malik negotiated the deal. And Jessica, who's also a part of the group, Brittany and Jessica, they're the one, Jessica's the one who did the deal. And so Jessica was the one who walked away with the big fat paycheck. It happened. It actually happened. And it's all because of what we know. Right? And we did it together. Maybe Brittany and Jessica, maybe they weren't as strong initially. They are now, but they weren't then to do this negotiation. Maybe the confidence wasn't there. So then Malik said, you know what, I can do it. And so he negotiated the whole thing. And then people got paid for their services, for bringing the deal. Everybody got paid, and it's been a great thing. And the homeowner, happy as can be. It's cool. It's really cool what you get to do. So I know this one was complicated. This was the third one. I wanted to make it good. This is one of my favorites. Could I have done that? I could have done that the whole time. Look how bright it is now. Well, maybe it was better to be dark because I didn't do my hair, so you couldn't, you wouldn't have seen that, right? I didn't want to scare the children. All right, speaking of scaring the children, let's see if we got any fun faces. Got that one again, right? Oh, yeah. Or this one. Black Panther, I'm coming for you next. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah. So, did you guys learn anything? How was that? Did you guys enjoy it? There was a lot of cool stuff today, right? A lot of cool strategies that I taught with this one thing. This one thing, and you didn't really have to have much money. You just had to have a network of people, some knowledge, and access to money, right? So, what did you guys learn? Did you guys learn anything cool? Thanks, Asia. All right. Any questions? Any questions you guys want me to answer? Feel free to ask them. Feel free to ask them. Judy's always telling me that I'm like trying to charge people for stuff. Hey, here it is. It's free. Ask your questions, Charging. Yes, there's cost. There's a cost to go to the school. Oh, God, what an idea, right? But if you're in that mindset where, nah, I ain't got to pay for it, you've been able to do it for free for a long time now, right? You've been able to, people are like, oh no, I got YouTube and I got Google, I'm good. Dude, you've had Google and YouTube for years now. So if you're not doing something now, what do you think Google and YouTube will do for you later? Negotiating the lease options. Have you made out on lease options in your experience? They're interesting. The way that you make out on a lease option is not necessarily in the lease option, but yes. So there's a couple of things. One, you can actually charge a higher rent amount and say, like, if you pay the higher rent amount, I'll lower your costs later, right? So that's one way to make something cash flow that isn't cash flowing, and you get that money up front. So it's kind of like a wholesale fee baked in to a rental property. It's where you get to get the payment up front like a wholesale without getting rid of the property initially. So one, you get to raise the rents, so you get higher rents throughout, and then two, it's like a wholesale fee up front. So it works out that way. What do you say is the minimum credit you can have to complete this deal? You can probably minimum 50, 10. Your credit score could be 10. You know why? Because no one's pulling the credit, right? When you do the subject to, the bank's not looking at your credit score. When you're doing the seller finance, the seller's not looking at your credit score, and the private money lender wasn't looking at your credit score. And then when you flip it, the buyer is not looking at your credit score. So your credit score could be negative 45. Gotcha? Got me? Got it? Ah! All right, what else? What else, y'all? Come on. This is that free session, right? Free session. Hone Houdini Tai, helping you escape your 9 to 5 live and in color. Really? Asia's like, really? Dang, I didn't think about it that way. He's right. Nobody did ask me for my credit. The bank didn't ask for it because it was a subject to. The seller didn't ask for it, right? Damn you, Howdy. Explain subject to again. Just take over the mortgage. Come to class. We're doing that today. Or no, tomorrow. Tomorrow in Philly, we're going over all this. Creative acquisition. How can I buy real estate to buy more noodles? How do you buy more noodles? So it's important. Hold on. I got you, Lou. So it's important to always have noodles on hand, right? There we go. So this one, artificial roasted beef flavor, right? That one is a new one. We haven't tried that one yet. We're doing testing, right? So this is another one. This one is air dried, non-fried, chewy and smooth. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, boy. What else we got in here? This one is spicy hot beef. Howdy, I don't use none of that sriracha sauce, right? Look at this little chow mein and shiho ramen, Japanese style, right? What else we got? We got this one. This one's a favorite brand of many. So this is my Black Panther edition. Where do you get the real estate properties, or where do you get the noodles from? Why didn't we use hard money for the deal machine? Well, because the way we negotiated it, doing the subject to and the seller finance and everything else, it was actually cheaper. It was cheaper to do it the route we did it versus going all hard money. And the noodles you get from any Asian supermarket. There's one at 16th and Washington. There's one at 11th and Washington. And then there is one at 6th and Washington, as well as Adams and the Boulevard. And there's a whole handful of other ones all over the place. But those are the ones I go to offhand. Hone, what are the advantages and disadvantages of getting a loan through a mortgage company for an investment property? Okay. Let me put the noodles back. All right, advantages and disadvantages of going through a mortgage company. Well, if you're getting a mortgage in your name, one, it's in your name. Now, the advantage is it's a lower rate and a 30-year fixed term usually, right? I'll get to you, Asia. But Lou, the advantage of getting a mortgage in your name is that it is lower rate. The disadvantage is it's way harder to get, right? Because they underwrite it really, really diligently. They want to know where every penny came from. It's like, what is this $5,000 deposit that happened 6 months ago? Can you please explain that? It's like, no, I can't. So it's so much more difficult, but if you're okay with that, then great. Now, again, you have to buy it in your name. Now, some people are like, well, you just have to have an insurance policy that covers everything and you should be good. Well, what if the insurance company's a dick and they don't cover whatever liability that you get yourself into, or like whatever incident you get yourself into, and you have to I don't know, cover that shit or whatever. There's liabilities. I'm not an attorney or an accountant, so I don't want to actually say different things because people are going to be like, well, Hone said so. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say that liability-wise, having things in your name versus in a company name, things are treated differently. So the mortgage guy typically can't get you a loan in your name. Now, you can get loans in LLCs, but they're typically commercial loans, even if it's a single-family home. So that's something that you got to take into account. The other advantage of traditional mortgage is that they require less skin in the game, meaning they have a higher loan to value. Typically, they're like at 80%. They go up to 95% loan to value. So that means you only need 5%. The commercial, they want you to have 25 to 30% skin in the game. So those are just, here or there, whatever. Asia's like, so you're telling me you can get all these loans without them pulling your credit? I want to make sure that the mic is on. Asia, the answer is yes. I'm saying that the loans that we're talking about, subject to, right? Subject to is you're not getting the loan. The loan's already there. The loan is already there. You're just paying the payments of it, right? It's like if you had a loan in your name for a car, and I decided to pay that car note. They didn't pull my credit. The loan's still in your name. So that's one. The seller's like, okay, I want it 100, but I'll take 40 up front and I'll finance the 60. And for financing the 60, you're telling me I'll get 66,000? Okay, I'll do it, right? They're not pulling the credit. And then finally, we got the private lender. If you asked your mom for a loan and your mom was like, okay, I want 10% interest or 8% interest or whatever it is, she's not pulling your credit typically. So yeah, I'm saying you can get all these different types of loans without people pulling your credit. You just have to understand the mechanism, right? So when you come to class tomorrow, Asia, really ask a lot of questions, dig into this, because it seems like we're having a breakthrough here. It's good. It's good. I'm glad like you're starting to see all of the potential that's here. People keep focusing on not having money and not having credit. Really, they should be focusing on having the knowledge to navigate the waters of not having money, not having credit, right? It's what it is. It's what it is. It's kind of like, I like using stupid little metaphors sometimes, right? It's like trying to date somebody, like trying to date a girl, but you're not that tall. And she's like, oh man, but I really want a tall guy. So then instead of being taller, you just become funnier, right? You just become funnier. So eventually she dates you because you're funny. You make her laugh. And she doesn't care that you're not tall anymore. Okay. I'm interested in lending 2 deals. Private message me. Sean, mother humper, Come to my class. You've been kicking this bucket or this rock down the street for a long time now. Come to class. Come meet everybody. Maybe you want to lend it. Maybe you want to use it. But come expand. Come expand your mind. Do you need a license to do this? And the question or the answer is not that I know of. Nope. You definitely don't need a license to flip stuff. You definitely don't need a license to lend it. You don't need a license to take over subject to. You don't know. So there are no licenses that I know of that you could have. Licenses that I do know of is if you are going to be a residential mortgage broker, then yes, you need a license. And if you're going to be a real estate agent, you would need a license. I mean, like to insure your money if you lend. So Sean, to insure your money, there's different ways to insure it. And a license ain't one of them. Or is it covered by the liens of the property? There's a lot of things. You're touching upon one, you're touching upon another, right? Whatever. But a license ain't one. And you notice, right, Sean, you know enough to ask the question. But you see how you're like missing pieces still? That's why I tell people keep coming to class, keep coming to class. You're coming upon information kind of like you're stumbling upon it. You don't want to stumble upon everything. You want this information to be delivered to you in a format where it's like, we're going to go over this and this and this and this and this all the way through, like a curriculum, like what we offer. Now we offer 4 classes a week. Monday in New Jersey, Tuesday in Philly, Wednesday in New Jersey, and Thursday in Langhorne. And then Asia's saying, come to class. It's very beneficial. Rashim says, am I correct? Private money terms is negotiable between the people involved. Rashim, to be honest, all terms between everybody is negotiable. I negotiate with my bank. I'm like, dude, don't charge me that. Change that. Go back to whoever you got to go to. Give me a different rate. And they do sometimes. It's funny, right? It's just really you have to understand the machinery behind it. I've done that with the banks. I've done that with Home Depot. I'm like, Home Depot, I don't want to pay this. All right, they'll give me a 10% off. All right, cool. Like, again, I'll go back to it. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate, right? So the classes are very beneficial. You can negotiate terms for everything. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can lend money. You can borrow money. You can take over money. You can borrow from sellers and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, Jabbar knows. Yes and yes, right? Jabbar, I appreciate you coming out to the football game yesterday, man. It's been a long time. I missed you yelling out all kinds of instructions. Yeah, Rashim, you just gotta ask, and and to an extent, you have to know what you can ask and what you can't ask, and also like what you can negotiate or what you can't negotiate. There are different parts to it, right? Because I can be like, look, I want you. It's like, yeah, keep the interest rate the same, but I want you to. I want to change the terms. I want to do a. I'm cool with your 15-year loan, but I want it amortized over 25-year. I want it amortized over 30 year. Or I don't want it balloon in 15. I want it balloon in 20. Like, there are all of the different factors that you can negotiate, but you got to know what and why to negotiate it. You got to know what exists and how to negotiate it and why you want it to be a certain this way or that way. So it's really important you learn all the details before you negotiate too. Because you can just be saying some shit like, I want a lower rate. They might say, okay, we can't do a lower rate for you. But maybe they could have done a different amortization schedule. And if you knew to ask for that, then you would have gotten it. But if you don't know to ask, then you don't get the deal that you want or the deal that could have helped you out, make the property cash flow or whatever. All right. Any more questions? Any more questions? Yeah, Jabbar, it is always fun. Good microphone, by the way. Yeah, I'll show you what it looks like. Here it is. It's one of those, like, fancy Jones. It's like lapel thing, but it looks stupid on a t-shirt, right? So I'm going to show you what I actually did. You guys are going to laugh. If you guys really knew my my editing and my studio, here it is. Ready? It's It's there's tape on a chair and it's clipped to the tape. That's all it is. And so I just have it here, but you can't see it. I make sure you can't see stupid stuff like that, right? But it works. And I just bring the chair real close to the whiteboard so that you guys can pick up on what I'm saying. See what I do for you guys? I invest. Look at you guys. Thank you for lighting it up. Lighten up the board. Right? See, I spend my hard-earned, borrowed money on stuff to make your experience better. Yeah, it seems like the questions are now dying down, but I hope that I was able to answer your questions and that you guys got a lot of clarity from this video. I can't stress it enough to come out to our meetings. You need a loan for a microphone stand. I know a guy. I can't stress enough that what you know can change your financial future forever. And I'm so passionate about it because it's been able to change my life, right? I have 2 degrees, right? I have 2 degrees, and I've worked as an engineer and in corporate America environment with the tie and the whole bit. And, it just didn't fit. And that's for me personally. It just didn't fit. I always felt like an outsider with every job that I had. I always struggled with fitting in or doing things because that's the way we've always done it. Not because it's the best way, but because that's just how it is. And I don't get along in situations like that. I don't thrive in situations like that. So real estate investing has allowed me to be authentic to me. It allowed me to become real and genuine. Whereas when I was always at work, I felt like a fraud because I was trying to fit in a place where I just didn't fit. So I didn't. Real estate investing just gave me that outlet, that freedom to be who I want to be and create the income that I need to provide for me and my family, and the freedom also to enjoy the time with my family if I want it, right? So this is what I want for you guys, and I get to fry people up without disciplinary actions, right? Because if you don't do something, it doesn't mess my life up. It messes your life up. Now, not that I don't care. It doesn't affect my life, but I do care. And I want you guys to all do well too, because other people, they helped me. Other people taught me. Other people stood for my greatness. And I'm just paying it forward, right? I want all of you to be great too. There's a lot of students who are brand new who get fired from their jobs and they look at me like, Hone, I don't know what to do, and I'm actually kind of scared. So I'm like, wow, well, let's do this. I got you back. Let's work on a plan. Let's figure something out. Let's get you knowledgeable so that people who have money feel confident to lend to you, and then we can get you started in some deals. If you do a deal and it makes you $40,000 to $60,000, I mean, that's somebody's whole year's salary. That's possible for you. All you got to do is learn how to do it. So you don't have to necessarily devote 40 to 60 hours a week, 2,000, 2,200 hours a year. You don't have to do that, because I've been able to change my life and I've watched others change their life. And so if that's something that you're interested in, come to the class, because it does change lives. And that's what I'm really proud to say. All right, well, that's it, man. My clock says 1:54. I started this thing at 1. Sheesh. Dude, nuts. And you guys been on here for that long? You guys are crazy. You guys are crazier than me. I know I did all the talking, but I appreciate all the questions and comments and all the laughs and everything else. All right, y'all. And if I can help you with anything else, let me know. All right. Peace. And for those just hopping on now, go watch the replay.